Hi, and welcome to Kate's Paper Creations and my weekly Casing the Catalog video. Today I am going to be featuring the stamp set and bundle called Have a Hoot bundle, and it's just adorable. It's got all these little owls in there, and then it's got some dies that go with it. So let's get started and I'll show you how I made today's card. I made today's card a note card sized card, so it is 3.5 by 5. So you start out, if you're making your own, with a 5 by 7 piece of cardstock, scored at 3.5, and then folded. And I'm going to do a top fold card, so that's how it's going to lay out. Then in the holiday catalog, there is some paper. It's called black glitter paper. And we're going to put that on the front, and I cut it the same exact size, 3.5 by 5. And let's put some that's good enough. And we'll attach that. Creates this lovely starry looking background, which is so awesome. Okay, let's set that aside for a second, because then I used the circle dies, and this is a 2 1/8 inch circle from the circle dies, and cut that out. And then I used a brush and Memento black ink and this cute little owl in the tree. And I'm going to ink the whole thing, but I don't want the spider. I'm going to take the spider out. So I am going to just go in here with my baby wipes, and I am just going to clean off the spider so that he doesn't show up. Just like that. And then I'm going to stamp this on here. And it's just large enough for the design. And then I used blends pens to color him with, and I used the soft suede light and dark. Get my pins here. Yeah, here we go. Light and dark soft suede to color my tree with. And again, when you're coloring with these, remember they do have a tendency sometimes to bleed out from the middle a little bit, so don't go close to the edge right away. Give it time to kind of spread out. And I just use the brush end even on these thin pieces. If you just keep a really light hand, you will be able to do that without going outside the lines in a very noticeable way. I mean, you might a little bit, but it's not enough to cause it to not look nice. And so let me get this colored in here. I don't typically celebrate Halloween itself, but I could not resist these cute little owls, and they can say other things. And so, as you've probably noticed from the card when I first brought it out, this little guy is just going to say hello. He's not going to say Halloween or whatever. So there's the light soft suede. Then I'm going to come back with the dark, and I'm going to use the small end on this one and just put some accents here and here and here, just to give a little bit of accent. And so that's him. And then I'm going to color and cut out the owl from another piece. So that part is pretty much done. So then I stamped the owl on another scrap piece, and I'm going to color him with crumb cake. And I'm using crumb cake light and coloring in, and there's a die that's going to cut him out in just a minute. So we're going to color him, and I'm leaving his eyes white. I think I said that already, sorry. And then I'm going to use the crumb cake dark, and I'm going to come in here and add some accents again. And I'm just using the accent marks that are part of the die itself, I mean the stamp itself, I'm sorry. So it just adds a little bit of shading to that. And then I'm going to cut him out, and let me get the die for that. I always have to think about which one's the right one. There it is, I laid it over here. This one, and it will cut out the owl and the spider if you want it to. I'm only going for the owl. So I'm going to go off screen for a minute and we will cut him out. You could also just fussy cut if you didn't have the dies. It's not very difficult at all to cut it out. So let me get that. Heard the crackle as it went through. And here is my little owl. Now I got him a little bit off center when I die cut, and I don't like that. So I am going to trim this just a little bit from here and here. Just because I'm being picky. There's my little owl. Okay, now that I've got the tree trunk on there and colored, I'm going to be covering the owl up with a cutout piece, as you saw earlier how I prepared it to go on here. And I used Bumblebee for the color, and I like to use brushes to put color on this in this kind of situation. So I'm just going to use my brush and Bumblebee, and I am going to just right over the top of everything. And it's okay if there's shading differences. That's what I like about doing it this way. And that's all done. Then we'll take that little owl that we made and die cut out, and a dimensional on his backside, and cover up the little owl spot like that. And then I have a little star that I cut from silver and foil, and this star came out of the Stitched Stars dies. So there's that to go on the front of the card, and I just applied it flat to the front of the card. You could dimensionalize it if you want to. Because I'm sticking it to a piece of cardstock that has that glittery texture to it, I'm using the Stampin' Seal Plus because it's a stronger adhesive, and I was afraid it might not stick real well and stay stuck to this glittery surface. So I'm using that Stampin' Seal. Got a little piece sticking out there. I want to get it tucked in so that I can be sure it will stay stuck. So there's that, and then I cut a piece of Whisper White, 1/2 inch wide, and I am going to use a sentiment from Heartfelt stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it on that 1/2 inch wide piece. I thought that was a fun one. Being friends is better than eating candy, but let's do that too. I like that. That's so cute. And I'm going to attach that with dimensionals as well. Get a couple more of them off this sheet yet. Oh, and you know, I was going to introduce you, before I do that, I was going to introduce you to our black dimensionals for attaching to dark surfaces so they won't show off when you look sideways at the card. And so yeah, I wanted to introduce you to these black dimensionals. And I just put this on here like that. And then I had a strip, I think it got away from me, but it's here somewhere, of the black that I had trimmed off, and I just put a little strip up the inside of the card as well. And you could add some more embellishment to the inside. But that is Cased from the Catalog, page 76. So there you go. Isn't that cute? So fun. Okay. I've got a second one for you that I'm going to share. This one is on, let me get my pieces in here. Here's the front of it, and you're going to find something similar on page 62. Now, why I say similar is because I did not have everything that they used in this particular catalog one, but I made do, which of course you can do as well. So let me show you what I did. This is a little box. It's about 2 3/8 inch square. I have a Silhouette Cameo cutter, so that is where I got the box. Stampin' Up! Has some cute boxes that I don't own. They're in the catalog, and you can look there, so you can get some boxes there. But we're going to use mine today to build the base with. And I just use glue to put these together. I've done a lot of 3D work. And I'm hoping my glue isn't plugged up. It looks like it is. Let me unplug my glue. There we go. And when I have done my 3D work, anything like making boxes or anything, glue is always, it actually kind of melds the paper together. When it's dry, it will not come apart. And I have tried just about every tape and adhesive out there over the years as I've done this, and just plain old glue. And this is Eileen's tacky glue, quick dry tacky glue. Okay, let's get this in the picture. So I have put glue on the flaps that go to the inside of the box, and you get it as close to the edge as you can so that you get a good tight seam and you don't have gaps in your card or in your box showing gaps up the sides. And it doesn't take very long to set. I have a tendency to, I have a little ditty. I'm sure some of you have heard it. You know, you sing that little song, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. Well, sometimes if I have to hold something and it's not sticking, I'll just start singing that little song, and by the time I'm done, everything is nice and solid and in place. So there's the box. It's open on top. So you could put a little votive in there. You could put a little bag of candy in there. It's big enough to fit a nice little muffin in there that's been wrapped in a cellophane bag. So there's the box. Then in the catalog, they used that beautiful plaid that's available in the holiday catalog, but I have not purchased that yet. So I made do by using the Flowers for Every Season designer series paper. It's 6x6 designer series paper, and this one has this cute little wood grain pattern in it, and I think this is a bumblebee color. And I just cut 4 of these, and they ended up being cut 2 1/8 so that they would have a border around, and attached them to the card with that border like this. And I just made sure I cut them so the wood grain was going up and down on all 4 sides. That's something you'll want to watch for when you do yours. You know, and I do cheat a little bit with my Silhouette because then I don't have to fight with the box making stuff. But those of you that have the box cutter apparatus that Stampin' Up! Used to sell, that would probably work for this. Or if one of you has a square box formula for using the score tool to do that with, that would be, I'd love to hear from you. I could have made this just into a card, but I kind of wanted it to be casing the catalog. So in the catalog it's a box, so you get a box here with my own variations. Okay, so there's the box. And then I took the 12 inches of this metallic edged satin ribbon, and I am going to put the tape on it all the way to the end. And then I am going to wrap it around the box, and I'm going to start because I'm going to overlap that one end. I'm trying to keep it straight. And the tape doesn't stick too awfully quick as long as you don't press on it, so then you can keep getting your stuff lined up. And then we'll overlap it, and then we'll cover that overlap up with the rest of the embellishments that we're going to put on the box. So there's our box all ready to go. Then in the dies that are in the set, there's this lovely die, and let me show it to you because I didn't really recognize this at first, but this cuts out 3 different tags, and they actually cut out in separate pieces. They do not cut out all attached like the die is. Cuts them out into 3 pieces. So I used one of those on the original box, the larger of the 3, and I'm going to use the next size down for this one so that I use up what I have. Now I stamped this pumpkin, this owl with the pumpkin, this one here, and I stamped it with Memento black, and then I colored it using blends, not blends pens, blender pens and ink pads. So I started out with Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie, and that's what I used for the pumpkin. There's Garden Green on the stem, and then the little owl is Soft Suede, and I just added extra accents to give him some accents, and I left the eyes white. And there's a die to cut that out, so I have already cut that out, and I'm going to attach it to this with some dimensionals. I'm going to put a couple of them on there. Like this. And it's okay if it overlaps outside because it's going to fit on the front of the box. And then in the catalog it had some little yellow stars, and I have looked everywhere and just can't seem to find those. So if you know where they are, you can, that's something else you can tell me in a comment as to where I could find those. But to make up for that, I have Playing with Patterns resin dots, and they have 3 different colors on here, and I am going to use the yellow ones, and I'm just going to place 3 of them on here in different places. Let's see, let's put one here, and let's put one over here. We'll see how that works out when we get ready to put the bow on. Then this I attached to the front also with dimensionals. And I didn't get carried away, just a couple of them. Don't need a bunch. And I put it on here in kind of a angle. And then I have already made the bow. This is 10 inches of that same vanilla metallic edged ribbon, and I made a bow with it, and I am attaching it with a glue dot up at the top of the tag. Like that. And then for the final thing, I used the word hello. It came out of one other stamp set from Heartfelt. Has a little tiny hello that I liked. And I'm just going to stamp it with Memento black. And I'm probably going to trim that down. And I'm going to attach that with another dimensional. I'm going to keep it to the one end because it's going to overlap a little bit with the tag that's already on there. And I think I'm going to go like that. Now let's go like this so it doesn't cover up so the bow doesn't cover it up. And there's the hello. And there's my little box that you can imitate from page, what did I say? 62. So I hope you enjoyed my casing the catalog video today. I invite you to subscribe to my blog and to consider shopping with me through my online store. Thanks for stopping by.